conference will now be recorded.
I'm giving the invocation at the Irvine City Council meeting.
What does that mean?
What that means is before they have their monthly meeting, they ask one of the religious leaders to give a blessing, a prayer, and this was meant to be a unity. It was a unity. So they had myself, the sheikh who's in charge of the Irvine Islam Center, and she's not a priest, not exactly a pastor or whatever right?
Yeah.
So
Sheikh, not imam. It's Sunni or Shia. Maybe it's Shia. Sheikh, we don't do sheikh. In this Sunni, it has to be imam. We don't say sheikh. Sheikh is more like it.
Yeah.
Shia.
Iran I don't know. Imams. Don't know. Anyhow, last year, so the city council meetings were brutal because they were talking about making a declaration of ceasefire now, and we still had hostages. It was crazy, and we had Jews speaking there and Muslims speaking there, and the animosity was crazy, and it really went. Sorry. Yeah. So I gave a nod to that, and I said, Master of the universe, we live in a world that is fractured and divided. Religious views, political affiliations, geopolitical events, multiple wars presently being waged. These are issues that many of the urban residents feel passionately about, with many lining up on opposite sides. These passions often spill over into our day-to-day dealings on our streets, sometimes with pleasant encounters, and sometimes with curses and threats. We, the religious leaders, and our city council carry a great responsibility. Regardless of our own personal persuasions, our public discourse, forums, and meetings must spread unity, respect, tolerance, camaraderie, and love to all human beings, all created in the image of God. May the Master of the universe grant us all the wisdom and understanding to stay far away from national and international issues that we can't impact and only bring out friction amongst Irvine residents, and instead focus on issues that pertain to our wonderful city and its wide and diverse range of residents. I will paraphrase a prayer that we say every Sabbath at Beth Jacob. God Almighty, graciously accept with mercy our prayer for our country, our state, and our city. Pour out your blessing to its leaders, officers, and officials who work faithfully for the public good. Sustain and protect them and put into their heart and the heart of their counselors compassion to do good. Teach them and enlighten them so that peace, tranquility, happiness, and freedom will be the focus of their meetings and forums. God of all that lives, please bestow your spirit on all the inhabitants of our land and plant love, fellowship, peace, respect, and friendship between the different communities and faiths that comprise our great city. Uproot hate, prejudice, animosity, jealousy, and strife in order that only fellowship, friendship, and liberty will rest amongst us, and let us all say, Amen.
Beautiful.
So
this time it went much better.
Yeah, well, they're trying, when they asked me to participate in this unity, so I wrote back and I said that last year the meetings were the antithesis of unity. So if they're looking to make looking to pivot, then I'll happily participate. Yeah. But I had to emphasize, Natalie had me tone it down quite a bit. She's a lot smarter than I am, so she had me tone it down a bit. But I had in there that I and other people who identify as Jewish have been met with some praise and others, and also curses and threats. I took out the Jewish. I had to mention the curses and threats, not in a Jewish context, but residents of Irvine have been. Yeah. So hopefully. Okay, let's go through Pesach. This is the last meeting it will have. I mentioned before. Next Tuesday night, we'll be checking for our chametz. We'll go through that soon also. We'll not be having a meeting. The next Tuesday is going to be Yom Tov. Tuesday night is going to be Yom Tov. Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, we'll go over in a second. So we'll meet again the week after Passover, after Pesach.
So the Yom Tov goes through Friday and then Shabbat starts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in terms, yes,
Are
Natalie,
we meeting April 7th or April 14th?
14.
Okay.
You have to ask our statistician.
It's April 14th.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of preparing for Passover and for Pesach, so we mentioned last week, it is quite extensive, expensive, and extensive. Okay. Yes, it's a lot of that. Okay. And so again, in terms of the food, all food needs to be kosher for Passover, right? Your husband had sent me a question, like stuff that we cut previously, right, and froze in a non-Pesach kitchen, right? So that we would put away. We don't need to burn it. We don't need to sell it, but we just put it away and have it after Pesach. Okay.
Maybe not buy anything at all. Like he will not let me buy bread. I said we still have one more week. He's like, no, we have to start cleaning now. I'm like,
okay. So my house, besides the dining table, is already, well, we have about 20 people of all of our kids and grandkids coming. So Natalie's doing a lot of cooking, a lot of cooking. So we are already basically kosher with Pesach in the kitchens. Right now, I can open up a can or something like that, but we're not baking any bread or bring any bread into the house. Okay, so the kitchen needs to be cleaned, table needs to be covered, counters need to be kosherized or covered. Oven needs to be cleaned out and either self-cleaned or put up to the highest setting. The stove top, right? The grates, right? If you have regular metal grates, right? So you cover with some aluminum foil and put it up to a high setting and let it go for like 7 to 10 minutes till it gets really good and hot. That way, anything that's there will get burned out. If you have a glass top and then you have that, don't do all four at once. Do that one time. The whole glass shattered. Not a good idea. So you want to do it one at a time if it's something that can break. If you have the smooth glass electric stovetop, that cannot really be koshered. So what you need to do, I think the OU book goes through, you put like a metal plate on top, so the pot will go on top of that, not directly onto the stovetop, and don't put other things down onto. Don't start pouring boiling hot water onto your glass. There's a good chance it will break. Do not do that.
Why do we cover aluminum on the counter?
So the counter has been used for chametz. So either, in my case, I have granite counters. I poured boiling hot water and we kosherized it. Otherwise, you cover it so you're not using the same surface. Even though we'll come to this when it comes to the kashrut. Typically, if something hasn't been used for 24 hours, it loses its potency and it can't cause any problems. Right? If you have less than 1/60th, it's not a problem. When it comes to Pesach, all of that is suspended. Even 1,000 to 1, it's not considered nullified. Even if it's old, it's also still going to be a problem.
How did we come about these rules? Is it Jewish or is it that in the Torah?
The Torah, we have our written Torah and we have the oral Torah. So the written Torah lets us know that there can't be any chametz, right? The laws of kashrut we learn out from also the Torah when we went to battle and we had a lot of booty afterwards, brought back a lot of vessels. So there the Torah goes through how to kosherize things, right? And there are a number of rules that go along with that, and therefore the rules are different when it's Pesach as opposed to regular kashrut. Okay, so any questions about foods, and again, the CRC app is absolutely fantastic. Just today, Vivian Hutz is going to be catering the second Seder that we're going to have here, that Natalie and I will be running. Hopefully some of you will be joining us for that Seder. So she asked me, and I said, look it up on the app. She asked me, can you buy grated carrots? They sell grated carrots in the bag. Can you buy grated carrots? CRC app, food, carrots. There it says carrots raw, except all fresh, raw, and pre-washed, bagged iceberg lettuce and other non-kidney vegetables such as whole carrots and shredded and sliced carrots, shredded cabbage and broccoli slaw, are acceptable for Passover if they do not contain sensitive ingredients. It is just carrots, which is what it is, and are purchased before Pesach. Okay, so again, this is a treasure trove. Okay, let's go through the way things are going to be unfolding. Okay, so next week, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday is Yom Tov, is holiday. Before we get to that, Tuesday night is when we do the Bedikat Chametz, the search for the Chametz. There's a blessing on page 654, I'm pretty sure, in our Art Scroll Sidur. There's a blessing. The blessing is on the eradication of the Chametz. That does not happen until the next day, until Wednesday morning. We'll come to that soon. But this is the start of the process, and therefore that is the bracha, that is the blessing that we make. So make a bracha of al bior chametz, on the removal of the chametz. Okay, it's in the Sidur. Chametz is anything leavened, bread, crackers, noodle, pasta, all of those things is chametz. Chametz is the 5 grains that have been processed and have not been processed in a way to make sure that it doesn't become chametz. That's what it is. Okay? So traditionally, we'll put out 10. At that point, hopefully, the house is pretty clean of chametz, right? If you have little kids, you never know, right? If you don't have little kids, then hopefully the house is pretty much clean of chametz. So traditionally, we'll put out 10 pieces of bread, okay? Now, when I was a kid, I thought I had a very smart idea. My father had to search for it. So I took the bread. I had one of these desk lamps, like a little thing, and then a bulb. I took the bread and I stuffed it up in there, right, to hide it from my father. That was not the smartest approach before Pesach. Neither my father nor my mother were very impressed with my with my action. What we now do is, we've already done this, right? You take 10 Ziplocs and put in 10 pieces of bread, right? Even pita is even better because pita doesn't crumb all that much, okay? And
10 pieces.
I'm sorry?
Why 10 pieces?
That's the custom.
Okay.
10 pieces. 10 is a good number in Judaism, okay? 10 pieces, and we spread them around, and then we actually search not just for them, but also try to think of places where there might be some chametz, like my jacket pockets. There might be some lollipops that some kids didn't get on Shabbos. I always carry a few extras, right? That's a good place to check, right? If you, I don't know, if you, when you go shopping and you're checking out, you like those Hershey bars, and maybe you have, someone sitting somewhere, you know where you hide them. I don't, right? But that's where you want to look, okay? So you actually want to do a not just a perfunctory, search, but actually you want to do a search. Traditionally, we use a candle, at least to start the search. Now, it's not all that practical or effective when we have curtains and things like that. You want to look under a bed and a couch. You start with the candle, but then you could switch over to whatever would be the most effective way of searching. After you've finished, then there is a declaration that is made, again on that page 654, where you say, it's in Aramaic, but say it in English so you know what you're saying. You're saying that any chametz that I don't know where it is, that should remain, I'm making it hefker. Hefker means ownerless. I am relinquishing my ownership of it. We're not allowed to own and have any chametz throughout Pesach. Now, the pasuk says you should not see, you should not find it. See means you should not see your chametz. You walk into Wholesome Choice and you see the breads that they're baking, that is not a problem. Buying it on Pesach is a serious problem, right? Eating it on Pesach is an even more serious problem. Right after Pesach, one can go there and get some of that freshly baked bread. And I'm looking forward to that this year. Okay? So again, Tuesday night we do the search, then we make the first proclamation. Now, the Passover holiday to a certain degree begins not just Wednesday night with the Seder, but Wednesday afternoon, noontime, and on, even back a little bit earlier than that, because that is the time when the Pesach sacrifice was brought at the temple, and then they would eat it that night as part of the Seder. And once you can offer the sacrifice, then already you can't have any chametz. That is why the prohibition against chametz begins not at night, but already that morning. So on our calendar, we have the exact times that it's set for. 10 something is on our calendar. If you're not sure, I'll take a picture and I'll send it on the WhatsApp. That is the last time to eat any chametz. Then we burn the chametz that we have left. Now, we also have an arrangement that I act as an agent to sell any chametz that is owned. Jose and I have this worked out very well for years. Most years he has agreed to sell it back afterwards, but it's actually his decision, right? But we go through actually a very formalized process of I acting as the agent, selling all of the chametz to Jose. So if you have unopened boxes, bags of perhaps pasta, things like that, that should be put into an area in the kitchen that should be closed off, okay? And that can be sold. And that way, after Pesach, as long as Jose agrees to sell it back, and as I say, past performance is no guarantee for future results, but the past 17 years, he's agreed to sell it back afterwards. I think it's a safe assumption that he will agree again this year. If not, he'll have to buy it from us, right? We'll give him a good price. That's part of the contract, but he'll sell it back. Okay.
Is rice part of it?
Okay. Rice is not chametz that needs to be sold. According to the Sephardic custom, they will eat rice on Pesach. They'll be sure to buy special kosher for Passover rice, which has been packaged in an area that doesn't have any other grains being packaged. Sephardim will eat rice and beans. Ashkenazim have the custom not to eat. But we're not allowed to have chametz that was in your possession during Pesach. Okay, that will not be an issue when it comes to rice. Okay.
How about the clear noodle? Remember that it sometimes made from beans, all that stuff.
Anything made from rice and beans, Ashkenazim don't eat it, and Ryan is definitely of Ashkenazic descent, right? Ashkenazim don't eat it on Pesach, but it's not bona fide chametz by any means, and therefore it should be put away, and then it'll be fine. It'll be fine after Pesach. Okay. Then at about 11 something, again, on the calendar that morning, Wednesday morning, we will have fire set up over here, and we will burn the remaining chametz that we have, right? If nothing more, it might be those 10 pieces of bread that you set out and hopefully found.
We can bring the
yes.
Like let's say like half used like pasta noodle.
Correct.
Right,
Correct. However, don't come with 4 garbage cans filled with stuff. Okay, right?
Yeah.
What if you have a lot of stuff? You don't have to burn it. You could throw it out in someone else's garden. Right. Don't keep it in your right. If you're living in an apartment area, so then there's a communal garbage. You could throw it there. If not, so then I've put it into small bags and gone to my neighbor's houses. No, I put it in small bags, and there are some small receptacles along Michelson, and I've thrown it out over there. At this point, we've gotten rid of almost everything, so it's not really won't be an issue.
What about stuff? Can you designate an area of your refrigerator or freezer?
Yes, good point, Ryan. Excellent. Ryan's good.
I know.
You should save him along with not just Adam. You should save him also. Anyhow, moving along, right? So yes, Ryan. So you might want to have a bag in your refrigerator that has some of these things in it, and it should be a closed, non-see-through bag, and write chametz on it and have it there and in your freezer. And when you fill out the form, Ryan, to have me sell your chametz, so you should list where the chametz is in your house, and you could put on there is a bag in the fridge that says chametz on it. There's a bag in the freezer that says chametz on it, and that will then be included in the sale. It's out of sight. It's not yours. You don't own it. It's been sold at that point to Jose, and that's something you can do. All the dry goods should be in a cabinet that should be closed up and out of sight, and again sold to Jose. Liqueurs, right? Those are made from grains. Those are bona fide chametz, right? The bourbon and the scotch and the whiskey and all those things, that needs to be sold. La briut.
What if they're open? Do you still sell them if they're open?
Yes. You're talking about, a box of noodles for 99 cents, right? If it's open, you can get rid of it. You're talking about, $50 bottle, right? You can have that sold and take care of that. Okay? All right. Okay. So then we move on to the Yom Tov. So that's Tuesday night. That's Wednesday morning. Wednesday night is Yom Tov. Yom Tov is like a regular Shabbos in terms of the prohibitions, with the exception being carrying good and cooking. Okay? We can't ignite the flame, we can't extinguish a flame, but we can cook using an existing flame. So what we do we have our stovetops, right, are electric ignition. So we put in a kill switch, and therefore we turn that off before Yom Tov. Now there is no electric ignition. And then if we need to use the stovetop, we'll take a match from an existing flame. We have before Yom Tov, we get like these 72-hour candles. You get them on Amazon, 72-hour candles, light them before Yom Tov, and you're good for your Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday, and Friday night before Shabbos to light those candles, the Shabbos candles. Okay?
How about gas stove? Aren't you not gonna have a carbon dioxide coming out of it if you need to?
It's off.
Turn it off.
It's off. When I want to use it, I turn it on and I take a match, and that's what ignites it.
Because they disconnected the electricity. So
I just the electricity, so that way when I turn on, it doesn't click electricity.
They have something like that?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah. Okay. We have a kill switch. Okay. Now, a very good eitzah for just 1 second. I think Ryan, if you could just mute yourself, we're getting some bounce back, unless you want to ask a question. Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. Did you
Yes.
last thing is so do they keep like the hot water the water heater, like the hot water
The hot water
pot?
urn that can
Yeah.
be kept on. Okay. And that it needs to be cooked on before Shabbos. And then you're able to add water to that. Why are you able to add water to that?
It's water.
Because you're cooking on Yom Tov. That's fine, as long as you're not igniting or extinguishing,
Are
right?
you allowed to take a shower?
No, ideally not.
For 8 days.
Huh?
No.
No, for 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, only for 3 days. Okay, we'll come to Chol Hamoed
he
soon.
was second guessing the conversion.
Natalie, we love you. Okay. Okay. So something that we do, it's a very easy way of warming up food on Yom Tov, right? So if you have timers, you can have timers sending things, hot plates going on and off. We use like a chafing dish that we have, and we have and you have those little what are they called, the little burners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the ones that like keep it.
Yeah, and it'll burn for 4 hours or 3 hours or 6 hours.
Yeah.
That way, you take from an existing flame, you have your 72-hour candle, existing flame, you light it, it'll get your food nice and hot, and then it goes out by itself. So therefore, it's an easy way.
Is it
Okay,
Wednesday?
so let's go through. So Wednesday night, you'll need to light candles for Yom Tov. Okay, Thursday night, you'll need to light candles for the second day of Yom Tov, and that needs to be from an existing flame. That's why you need to have either, or you need to have a long burning candle. Okay, and then Friday, right before Shabbat, again, you'll light candles from an existing flame. So we have 2 days of Yom Tov, and then we have Chol HaMoed. Chol HaMoed are the intermediary days, okay? Our first intermediary day is Shabbos, okay? And Shabbos is like a regular Shabbos, except that you can't eat, of course, there's no chametz all 8 days of Pesach. Here in Shul, we will not be having a luncheon that Shabbos, right? Right? So therefore, we're going to have a kiddush of fruit and cake, and then you'll need to go home and have your Shabbat meal. Okay? So that's how that's going to work. So that's 3 days, not 8, 3 days of no showering. Okay? And 3 days of Yom Tov. Then Chol HaMoed continues on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Okay? Those are the 4 days of Chol HaMoed. Chol is the non-holy Moed part of the holiday. Chol is the mundane part of the holiday. It's still Pesach in terms of what we can and can't eat, right? But Shabbos is Shabbos, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, there one can drive, one can shower, right? We don't do laundry on Chol HaMoed, okay? But one can like that. It's more of a regular weekday in terms of that, okay? Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday is once again Yom Tov. We have 2 days Yom Tov in the beginning, 4 days Chol HaMoed, Shabbos, and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and 2 days Yom Tov at the end.
So that's Tuesday night,
Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday. Thursday night is when Yom Tov Pesach ends, right? And at that point, one can get some nice fresh bread from Wholesome Choice and enjoy it, right? Usually it takes a little time, though, to put away all of your Passover things that you have, right? The thing that's special for Passover, whether it's special plates or pans, silverware, whatever it has that you're using for Pesach, right? For Pesach, right, it's not enough that we have dairy and meat. All year round, we also have separate vessels that we need to use on Pesach, separate silverware, right? Like I mentioned last time, we use a lot of disposable. Otherwise, we're doing too much washing, right? And you can buy some serving things that you'll need, right? But and use a lot of disposable. A lot of things can be baked, right? Meat can be made in disposable aluminum pans, chicken, cakes, things like that, right? Kosher cakes, etc. Can be done in those.
3 days, not last 3 days. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday, we cannot take a shower also.
Correct. Those 2 days, correct. But then Friday is Yom Tov is over, and you could shower to your heart's content until Shabbos begins. Okay? Okay. Historically, the first, right, we have 2, 4, 2. According to the Torah, it's 1, 5, 1. There's 1 day of Pesach, Yom Tov, 5 days of Chol HaMoed, 1 day of Pesach. So in Israel, Wednesday night, Thursday will be Yom Tov. Then we'll have Friday, Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then Tuesday night, Wednesday is Shvi'i, the 7th day of Pesach. And for them, in Israel, Pesach ends that Wednesday night. By us, it ends Thursday night. Okay? But what are the events of the first night of Pesach and of the last? What are the events of the first day of Pesach and the event of the last day of Pesach?
First night is like the first Seder that we have.
Okay, but what event is that commemorating, or is that re-experiencing? Leaving Egypt, right? That night at midnight, that's when the plague of the death of the firstborn. Paro said, "Get out." We said, "We're not leaving," as we say, like thieves in the night. We're leaving in the morning with our heads held high. But that night, the first day of Pesach, is the day of the Exodus. And the seventh day of Pesach is good. That is the day when the Sea of Reeds, we crossed the splitting of the sea, and we passed through the Sea of Reeds. Okay?
Is that Wednesday or Thursday?
That is Wednesday. That is Tuesday night, Wednesday. Okay?
And why did we get extra one day?
Okay. So why do the Jews outside of Israel keep 2 days of Yom Tov? Anyone want to explain that to us?
Isn't it to make sure that like we're actually observing the
Okay. So as Ava said, we want to make sure we've got the right day. And let me explain. In the time of the temple, the new month, the Rosh Chodesh, the month was set by witnesses coming and saying, "Oh, I saw the new moon." They come give their testimony to the Beit Din, to the Sanhedrin, to the main Beit Din. They cross-examine, they accept that testimony, and that day is proclaimed as Rosh Chodesh. Therefore, 15 days after that will be Pesach. Everyone in Jerusalem knows that. Word gets out. Everyone in Israel knew that, because the Beit Din would then send out messengers to let everyone know which day was Rosh Chodesh. Because a Hebrew month, a lunar month, is either 29 or 30 days. If it's 29 days, then day 30 is Rosh Chodesh, and 15 days after that, let's say Wednesday, will be Pesach. If it was a 30-day month, then we're starting on Thursday, and 15 days after that will be Pesach. In Israel, all the messengers got there. Outside of Israel, the messengers did not get there. And therefore, they had to keep 2 days of Yom Tov. Very good. But Rabbi, right, now what's the issue? Now we've got a set calendar. We're not using witnesses. So the Talmud says, yes, but we'll go back to the witness, that witness process. Once the Messiah comes, Mashiach comes, we're going to go back to that. Fair enough. But it's going to be posted on WhatsApp in a second, and everyone will know exactly when Rosh Chodesh is. So the Gemara says, Minhag Avotenu Biyadenu. That even though it's no longer an issue, the minhag of our fathers is what we keep, and we still keep 2 days. A reason given for that is that outside of Israel, we need these 2 days. We need to soak in 2 days in order for our tired souls to get that holiday, that Yom Tov, Kedusha, holiness, and upliftedness. Okay? So that is why the Gemara says we keep 2 days, the Talmud says to keep 2 days, the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, says to keep the 2 days, and we keep the 2 days. What I said is just a reason that's given by Rav Dessler, by some of the great Jewish thinkers, as to why this was instituted, even in a situation when we're no longer basing it on the witnesses. Okay? But those living in Israel, there the custom is 1 day, and there they only keep 1 day. Okay. So that is the outline of the holiday. Let's now go to the Seder. Okay? The central point of Pesach is, in Israel you have Leil HaSeder. You have the night of the Seder. You have one Seder in Israel. Right? Here we have 2 Sedarim. Okay? The Seder is meant for us to, in an experiential way, feel the redemption, feel the whole experience of Yetziat Mitzrayim. So I have a Haggadah here, right? So any of you guys who might have this at home, you could follow along. Those of you guys, I have copies. So we start.
When you say Seder, what is Seder?
Okay, excellent. So let's take a look on page 19. Okay. Well, first of all, on page 18, right, they tell you how to set up the Seder plate. Okay.
I thought Seder is the one that you put like camp outside. What is that? Sukkah. Oh my
That's a
God.
sukkah.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Don't worry. Okay. Now, the order of the Seder. So we begin the Seder by going through the order. And there are 15 steps. There's Kadesh, we make the Kiddush, sanctify the day, or Chatz, it goes through that. Now, the order of the Seder is kind of a funny statement, right? It's like the baseball team, the Los Angeles Angels. Now, why is that strange? Because what does Los Angeles mean? The Angels. So when you say the Los Angeles Angels, what are you saying? The angels. Los Angeles means the angels. Okay? The order of the Seder is a similar strange statement. Because what does Seder mean? Order. So it's like the Los Angeles, right? Angels. It's the Seder of the Seder, or the order of the order. Which begs the question, why is it called a Seder? Why is this whole process that we go through, this what we call the Seder night, why is it called the order? Why is there so much emphasis put on the order? And there is, meaning we start off by singing or saying the order, and then when I'm doing the Seder, we actually it's highlighted in this Haggadah where you are in the process, right? You have the whole red, and the black one is where you are in the process, okay? So why is there this emphasis on order?
Because when the Passover happened, it happened orderly, maybe because the first night. No, not because of that. I think because of the way that Pharaoh was punished by Hashem, like throwing, the frogs, the blood, and all that stuff.
So there was an order to the plagues. Good. Okay, good. But why would the whole night be called the Seder night, the order night?
The order of the Exodus, and that, or like the order of
Okay.
the history of like the Jewish people.
Okay. Any ideas out there? Out there in Zoomville? Okay. So I think building on what the two of you are saying, the Seder is meant to impress upon us that in life there is a Seder. There is a God who is running the world. There is God who is orchestrating events. Some are events that we understand and appreciate. Some are events that we wonder why we're going through this, like 210 years of slavery in Egypt, 210 years, right? And Jewish history is replete with incredibly joyous times and incredibly tragic times. And our own Jewish life experience, we've experienced, which for a while we haven't been, but I'd say the past bunch of years, we've been experiencing some national, really tragic times, and some national, very relief and happy times. And on a personal level, we all have the things that happen in our life. And there are our good times, and there are the times that we hoped would not happen, right? We've all experienced to some degree tragedies in our lives, okay? And what this night is meant to impress upon us is that there is a Seder, that life is not haphazard. Things don't just happen. One of the fundamental beliefs that we have is called Hashgacha Pratit. Hashgacha is providence, divine orchestration, pratit, individualized, for you, for you. And it's actually a mind-boggling idea, which means that it's all about me. By the way, it's all about me. And all of you are there as props to give me challenges, whatever it is, right? At the same time, it's all about you, Melissa. And we're all props for you. And it's all about you, Natalie. And all about you, Batsheva, right? Hey, right? Raquel, right? See, each person is simultaneously the center of their own world and also a peripheral player in everyone else's. And all of these come together in all of our interactions. But to recognize that there is Seder to this world. And to find, recognize the hand of Hashem, right? And we're not always going to know why. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said very beautifully, when it comes to certain things, the question is not why. The question is what. Meaning, it's not, God, why are you doing this? Many times, from most things, we will not be able to fathom why God is doing different things. Famously, at the burning bush, Moshe asked Hashem, what is your name? And God said, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I will be that which I will be. And Rabbi Sachs explains it very beautifully to mean, you're not going to be able to predict me. You think there's no way God will allow that, God's definitely going to do that, and you're going to be very surprised. Okay? Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, right? And we have to recognize that our brains, our 2 by 2 square inches of gray matter, is not going to be able to fathom the master of the universe who created everything from the solar system and its ever-expanding state down to the DNA that comprises in the nucleus of each of our cells, right? There's no way that we can fathom that. And therefore, the question that we need to ask is not why, because there are many things that we will not be able to understand, but what, meaning, what am I now supposed to do? What can I do with this? What must I do with this? How can I move forward? How can I move forward in a positive way for myself, in a positive way for others? And that is the focus of this night, for us to recognize and to see the hand of Hashem in the world, in the Jewish world, in the entire world, and in our personal world. That there is a Seder. There is an order. There is a method to the madness. This night is called the Seder. Okay.
I was
yes.
listening to learning about Rabbi Akiva, and the things that are happening. It's like it happened because Hashem wants me to go through this. So I'm not going to question it.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
how we see it.
And as he was being tortured to death, he was saying, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Yeah. Right? Yes. Yes. Okay, so let's look at the order of the Seder. Kadesh, that's number 1. That's on page 19. Well, that's order. On page 20, we're going to be making Kiddush. Right? Whenever we have a holiday, be it Shabbat or a Yom Tov, we usher it in with Kiddush. Okay? If it's on a Friday night, we include that first paragraph. Here, we will not be including that first paragraph. And we're going on page 20 and 21, followed by Shehechianu, and then we lean while we drink. We lean left and we drink. Okay? Why are we leaning?
Oh, I know this.
Well, chiropractors need to earn a living. Come on.
That's because we need to show ourselves we're free from Egypt and like act like we're king.
Exactly. It's a display of regality. That's what it is. Okay? We lean when we drink. Urchatz, then either the head of the household or everybody washes their hands over here without reciting a blessing, right? We do a number of things differently in order to arouse the curiosity of the children and of ourselves. Then we do, so you see on the side here, you have Kadesh, Urchatz, washing, Karpas. Karpas is one of the dips that we do. And we take something besides what we'll be using for maror. So you use parsley, you can use celery, anything that is borei pri hadama, besides what you use, what you will be using for your maror, your bitter herbs later. And we make a borei pri hadama, we dip it into salt water, and then we eat that. Okay? We turn the page now. Right? People think, oh, good, this is moving fast. We're ready for the meal soon. Well, we're going to hit a speed bump pretty soon. Okay? Yachatz. We take the middle matzah. Right? The person leading the Seder has 3 matzot. Take the middle matzah, break it in half. Okay? The smaller goes back in between the other 2 matzah. The larger piece gets put away for the afikoman. What's the afikoman?
You hide those things.
Yes, and that's the dessert that we have after the meal. The last part of the meal is some more matzah. Okay? Now, that last part represents the ultimate redemption. That's why it's the bigger part that gets put away. In Judaism, we're always going from dark to light, from small to big, from this world to the next world. That's why the Jewish day begins at night and then goes into the day. And then we begin the main part of the Seder night, which is Magid. Magid means telling. And that's why if you breeze up ahead, you'll see all the pages have that black Magid over there in the middle, right? We're going to have that for a while, okay? All the way until page 48. Okay? Magid is starting to tell the story of the Seder. And we lift up that broken matzah and we say, this is the bread of affliction that our fathers ate, land of Egypt. Whoever's hungry, let him come and eat. Whoever's needy, let him come and celebrate Passover. Now we are here. Next year, may we be in the land of Israel. Now we are slaves. Next year, may we be free men. What do we mean that we're slaves now? Are we slaves now?
No, well, we're not in Israel, so is it like?
Okay, but even in Israel, they still say that,
Oh.
right? So what do we mean that now we are slaves? Next year, may we be free men.
Is it like slaves to just, well, not the world, but like,
Yes,
but like the workings of the world and
exactly. In other words, until we reach the point of redemption, we are slaves to our passions, to our lusts, to our false gods, to that which we place too much importance on, right? We are all avadim to a certain degree.
Oh, Rabbi, page 25, it says, why is this night different from all other nights? It says, on all other nights we may eat.
So let's get that. We'll start on 24. At that point, Adam asks the Manishtana, right? The famous thing I've been working with the Olam kids. See how much they remember, right? About asking the Manishtana the 4 questions. This night is different, and in what way? We mentioned 4 ways. Other nights, chametz and matzah. This night, only matzah. Other nights, vegetables. This night, we eat maror, right? That is 2 aspects of slavery. Matzah, bread of affliction. Maror, bitter herbs. Numbers 3 and 4 on page 25. Other nights, we don't dip even once. Dip twice. We did the first dip before karpas. We'll do the other one coming up. On all the nights, we eat either sitting or reclining. Reclining means leaning. On this night, we all recline. And the idea is that we are acting in a regal fashion. I mentioned last week, I think I mentioned this group, I'm not sure, that the crux of the Manishtana is that we are used to having, Purim is a very happy day. Simchat Torah is a happy day. Tisha B'Av is a sad day. Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. But this day is somewhat schizophrenic. We're doing things that show slavery, and we're doing things that show freedom and regality. That is at the crux of the question, and the answer is given on page 26. Avadim hayinu lefarav b'mitzrayim. V'yotzeinu Hashem Elokeinu misham biyad chazakah. Right after 3:4 on page 26, the next paragraph, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. Hashem took us out from there. Therefore, this is a night where we had both of these experiences. And therefore, in order for us to experience this night, we do things that represent the slavery, we do things that represent the freedom that followed. Okay? And then we go through to what degree it must be done, historically, how it happened, asking the questions, the 4 sons, and many explain the 4 sons are not necessarily 4 different people. They're us as we go through different phases in our life or different moods of the day. That sometimes we are Chacham, the wise child that wants to know, teach me more. And sometimes we are the Rosh who says, why are we doing all this crazy stuff? Right? Sometimes we're the Tam, right? What's going on? Just we ask, we don't really want to know an answer. And sometimes we are Amy Odeya Lishol. We don't even know how to ask when it was so unclear and unsure, right? And therefore, that's who we are. Okay, that is part of the human experience that we go through many, many different stages and phases, not just in our lives, but even in our days. Okay.
Rabbi, one more question.
Yes.
Sorry. On all other nights, are they comparing to the nights that is in the 8 days, or they comparing to the other, okay.
All the nights of the year, as opposed to,
Just this one.
yeah,
Okay.
right, yeah.
And are we gonna do this every night or just Yom Tov night?
We do this at the Seder. So we do this the first night and then the second night.
And then last Yom Tov, we don't do that?
We don't have the Seder.
I'm sorry, what do people do? Are they gather, eat something, or they don't gather?
So it's like a Shabbos.
Oh,
It's like
you
a
can have
Shabbos.
Shabbos dinner.
Yeah, you have a Friday. Yeah. On Shabbos, we need to have 3 meals. On Yom Tov, we need to have 2 meals. So you have a washing meal at night, on matzah, of course, and a washing meal during the day.
Oh, you don't eat breakfast.
Well, I come to shul, so I don't really eat breakfast. So I'll have maybe a banana before I come to shul, a fruit or something, but I don't, on a Shabbos and Yom Tov, I don't eat breakfast. If one needs to, in order to have the strength for davening, then one can. Okay?
Is there
Yes.
like a main menu that meets on the Yom Tov, like a particular time?
Yes, it's like a Shabbos.
Okay.
So there'll be Hashkama at 7 o'clock. There'll be regular minyan at 9 o'clock. Right? Again, next week, Wednesday night, it's like a Friday night here in Shul. Thursday, it's like a Shabbos in Shul. Thursday night, like a Friday night in Shul. Friday, like a Shabbos in Shul. Friday night and Shabbos, etc. Okay? And the next week, Tuesday night, it's like a Friday night in Shul. Wednesday morning, like a Shabbos morning in Shul. Wednesday night, Friday night in Shul, right? All these Yom Tov days are like regular Shabbos days that we all gather to daven together, and then we go home and have our meals. Okay, are we clear, Nelly?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Ryan said he's gonna cook because I'm very scared.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
Now,
know.
an interesting thing, guys, is we then take psukim verses and we put the microscope on those verses and we dissect every word of the verse, what it's teaching us, what it's referring to. And we would have assumed we're going to pick a verse from the book of Exodus. I mean, that's what it's about. This is Exodus. We don't. We're picking verses from the book of Devarim and verses when a person would bring the first fruits to the temple, he would make a proclamation, a history proclamation that begins on page 32, or look in English in 33, and it's the first, towards the top there, bold letters. And Aramean attended to my father, then he descended to Egypt and sojourned there with few people. There he became a nation, great, mighty, and numerous. Right? And then we break down each part of that pasuk in the bold. And then we continue. The Egyptians did evil to us and afflicted us and imposed hard labor upon us. We break that down. Then again on page 35, we cry out to Hashem, and then we break it down. On the bottom of 35, Hashem brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand, outstretched arm, great arms, one, right? And then we break that down. Okay? So why are we focusing on these verses that are in Devarim and Deuteronomy and not on the Exodus verses? And this will conclude, this really brings us to the crux of the Seder. The crux of the Seder, like I said before, is to recognize that there is a Seder and to have gratitude. All the verses in Exodus are unfinished business. We got out of Egypt, but then we languished in the desert for 40 years. We didn't quite get to Israel. These verses are talking about little farmer has made his way to Israel, and he has his farm, and he's growing things in this land flowing with milk and honey. The promise of God that he gave to Moses, gave to the children of Israel, has been realized. And therefore, that is what we are focusing on, the realized dream. Okay? But we recognize that it is a process. And that is, therefore, the focus of tonight is appreciation. Right? And a very nice thing to do, right, with your Seder, right? Whoever's running house, right, is to go around and talk about the things that you appreciate, right? To vocalize the appreciation that you have. Okay, that's what we're focusing on these psukim. Just very quickly, we then go through the 10 plagues on page 38, right? And then, very importantly, there are things that you must say. Look on page 42, towards the bottom there, second paragraph from the bottom 43. It needs to say, whoever has not explained the following things on Passover has not fulfilled his duty. This is the bare bones of a Seder. Make sure you've explained Pesach, the Passover offering, matzah, and maror. And then we go through Pesach. Why do we eat a Passover? Page 45, matzah. Why do we eat this unleavened bread? Maror. Why do we eat this bitter herb? Okay. And then we start to say the Hallel, the Thanksgiving prayer, and then we go into the meal. But the meal on page 48 starts off, before you get to the really good stuff, we start off with washing our hands, as we always do, and then we make motzi, okay, and motzi and matzah, and then we eat while eating a significant amount of a matzah. Right? It should be a kazayit, which is about a third of a hand matzah. Then we eat the maror. Again, it should be a kazayit, olive's worth, right? And then korach, we make a sandwich of the matzah and the maror. And then we have our meal, Shulchan Aruch Orech on page 52. Then we have the tzafun, that's the afikomen. And then we have our birkat hamazon. And then we finish the Seder. We complete the Hallel. And then there are other parts that we say, and mostly praises to God and some beautiful, fun songs that we have at the end of the Seder. So I urge each of you to take out some time and to go through this and familiarize yourself with the Seder of the Seder, the order of the order, and what the different things are. And putting in that time beforehand will help make it please God, a very meaningful, uplifting experience.
Can we borrow this?
You can borrow it. Yeah.
Isn't there like a certain number of glasses of wine you're supposed to
Drink. Yeah, we have 4 cups of wine, right? Yes. Yes.
So,
Not 7.
and then grape juice, that would take me out.
Okay, so if you're going to get sick from the wine, then you can use grape juice. Better to use some wine, or at least mix in some wine, right? I'm not a wine drinker, so I get special for Pesach. I get this called the Rashi wine, and it's like 5%, 4 or 5% alcohol.
Drink like a full big glass of wine.
Right, you need to drink most of your cup, and the cup should be about 3.5 to 4 ounces. You don't want to have a very big cup. You need to drink most of the cup. And we pour a cup for Elijah. Okay, wishing everybody a good night and a wonderful Pesach. Okay, hopefully we'll be seeing some of you guys over the course of the holiday. Okay, good night.
Rabbi, could you not right now?